Looking back at the PlayStation 2 calendar, late August was a surprisingly heavy hitter for game releases. We're talking survival horror, samurai action, and anime fighters all dropping within days of each other. Welcome back to This Week in PlayStation 2 History, and today we're looking at 4 wildly different games. I've got 2 titles that I absolutely loved and played to death, plus 2 games that are completely new to me that I just recently fired up. Let's jump right in and give them a look, shall we? I'm kicking things off on August 27th, 2002 with an absolute masterpiece from Capcom, Onimusha 2 Samurai's Destiny. If you want to see how good the PS2 could make pre-rendered backgrounds, you absolutely have to play Onimusha 2. Back in 2002, I played this endlessly, and I can confidently say it's one of the best action-adventure games on the console. You play as Jubei, fighting against the demonic forces of Nobunaga, and the combat is just relentless and ferocious. Sure, it uses pre-rendered backgrounds, but they're incredibly sharp and loaded with little animated details like glowing lights and dripping water. The character models are highly detailed, and the weapons look fantastic, and the CG cinematics were some of the best in the business at the time. Aside from some occasional slowdown when the screen fills up with enemies, this game is a visual treat and an absolute must-play. Just 2 days earlier, on August 25th, 2002, Konami released The Thing. It's rare for a movie tie-in game to actually be good, but this survival horror gem pulled it off. The game also has a relatively small file size when compressed to a CHD, so if you have an Android gaming handheld device, this will fit just nicely if storage space is a concern. That said, this is another one that I played and absolutely loved. It operates as a direct sequel to John Carpenter's legendary 1982 sci-fi horror film, and is one of the few licensed games that genuinely captures the intense, paranoid atmosphere of the source material. You lead a squad of soldiers, and you have to manage their trust and sanity meters while figuring out if one of your own team members has been infected. Graphically, it holds up well, but the character models, they could have used a little more work. The overall visuals are smooth, crisp, and do a good job of setting that terrifying, isolated tone. The controls can feel a little clunky at times, especially during combat, but the sheer dread and survival horror mechanics completely make up for that. If you loved the movie, this is an essential piece of the PS2 horror library. Now jumping forward to August 29th, 2006, we have One Piece Grand Adventure. I had never played this late-era PS2 anime brawler before, but honestly, it completely surprised me. Full disclosure, just like with Alter Echo last week, this is a game I only recently started playing, so I don't have any nostalgia goggles on for this one. But honestly, it's surprisingly great and looks so good on my Retroid Pocket G2. It's an arena brawler that features a really deep Grand Adventure single-player mode where you travel around a map completing missions and leveling up. Graphically, the game is fantastic on both original hardware and emulated. It uses a vibrant cel-shaded art style, and while the characters are definitely deformed, it works well with this quirky art style. It has simple combos, but there is enough depth here that you can't just button mash your way to victory. If you're looking for a solid single-player fighting game, this is actually a really good time and another good hidden gem in my humble opinion. And finally, we have a bonus game this week. We're looking at Mojo, which dropped on August 26, 2003. It looks like a simple 3D puzzle game, but the only real puzzle here is trying to fight the game's camera. This was another totally new game to me. The concept is straightforward. You control a marble, and your goal is to smash through all the colored blocks in a 3D stage. But I have to be completely honest with you guys, this one is pretty rough. The biggest issues here are the physics and the camera. Gravity pulls at your marble way harder than it should, making simple steering feel incredibly heavy and frustrating. Graphically, it's very basic, but this one does upscale well. It's colorful for sure, but it's completely missing things like basic shadows, and honestly, the simple shapes and textures, they look like a few generations behind what the PS2 was actually capable of. It has that addictive one more try hook, and if you're playing this one on a handheld while on a road trip, it's not too bad for killing a little bit of time. But honestly, it's hard to recommend when there are better simple puzzle games out there for the PS2. Zuma being a great example. Be sure to find my past This Week in PS2 history covering Zuma and more. And that just about does it for This Week in PS2 history. It's crazy how much variety we got in the span of a few late August days. You've got the gorgeous samurai action of Onimusha 2, the pure dread of The Thing, the cel-shaded fun of One Piece, and whatever the heck Mojo was. And now it's your turn to sound off. Did you play any of these back in the day? Are you an Onimusha fan? Or did you spend your weekends terrified of your own squad mates in The Thing? Let me know in the comments. If you guys enjoyed hanging out and talking retro games today, do me a massive favor. Hit that like button, hype and share the video, and subscribe so you don't miss next week's episode. I'm Dan Gnadt, the PS2 guy. Thanks so much for watching, and as always, remember, stay retro. I'll catch you in the next one.
Midnight strikes.